Hello, it's the NFLExporter Ty Goodman, and we're doing the midway season report for the 2013-14 NFL season. We're now going to talk the NFC West. In first place is the Seattle Seahawks with an 8-1 record. The Seahawks have been led by a vaunted defense, as well as second-year starter Russell Wilson and the beast at running back Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson is just now kind of starting to find his groove. I honestly believe he's a quarterback that if he had some more weapons in the passing game, he'd be much more effective. Guys like Golden Tate, Sidney Rice, Doug Baldwin, all solid players, but none of them really have the capability to be a #1 option. I do like what I see out of Golden Tate. Out of all those receivers that I mentioned, actually has the most versatility as far as speed and agility and route running is concerned. They actually lost Sidney Rice for the season in the game a few weeks ago at St. Louis, which now has Doug Baldwin starting. And I actually like Baldwin better than Sidney Rice as well. I think he's a little bit more elusive, brings a little bit more speed and a little bit more shake in his step. At the running back position, Marshawn Lynch continues to excel. He definitely is the glue on this offense, who is suffering some injuries lately. They have already played some games without both their starting tackles, and particularly Pro Bowl caliber tackle Russell Okung. This upcoming Sunday, center Max Unger, who's another Pro Bowl player, won't be playing. So they're definitely battling some offensive line injuries, but between the damage that Russell Wilson, especially Marshawn Lynch, can do on the ground, the running game remains well intact. Your questions are really about the passing game. Percy Harvin is expected to be back in the lineup sometime soon, probably in the next 2 weeks. So if he's at full strength, that should definitely help the passing game and overall offense for the Seahawks. That is a major reason that they brought him in, because they were well aware that on the offensive side of football, especially in the passing game, they needed some more explosive and dynamic plays, and that certainly is what Harvin can bring to the table. On the defensive side of the ball, they're second against the pass. They do a great job against the run, but in the last couple weeks they've been exposed, and particularly by two rookies. Zach Stacy was able to run for over 80 yards against them and score a touchdown. The following week at home was a huge surprise. The Seahawks defense gave up 158 rushing yards to rookie Mike James. Now, I don't know if they were underestimating the Rams as well as the Buccaneers, but I do think that that played into it a little bit. The game that they barely won at St. Louis was after a 10-day rest. They played a Thursday night game in Arizona, had a long layoff all the way till Monday night. So I just felt they were flat and probably took that game for granted a little bit. And the offensive game plan was not strong in that game. You know you don't have your two starting left tackles yet. You come out passing the ball left and right. And in the game at home against Tampa Bay, I really feel it was just a letdown. They probably came into that game thinking that Tampa Bay was just going to roll over, and that was not the case. No matter how it plays out, I do see Seattle finishing around 12-4. Obviously, they have key games coming up at Atlanta versus New Orleans, and then at San Francisco, which essentially could be for the division, with the Niners being one game behind them. Nevertheless, the Seahawks will be in the playoffs. They will be a big-time threat, and obviously, if they have home field advantage, it makes it that much tougher on the NFC. Moving on next, we had the San Francisco 49ers at 6-2. The 49ers got off to a little bit of a shaky start. They won at home versus Green Bay. Then they lost games against the Seahawks, against Indianapolis, and it was after that game that Frank Gore kind of made some noise in the locker room and to his head coach Jim Harbaugh about running the football more. And that's exactly what the 49ers have been doing lately, getting back to their bread and butter and true identity of their team. Colin Kaepernick is a more than capable passer, has a very accurate and effective arm. But without all his weapons there, it was very difficult for them to be able to have an effective passing game. Anquan Boldin from the Ravens came in and did a great job, but without Michael Crabtree, without Mario Manningham, it was very difficult. Vernon Davis is an all-pro tight end. He's having an outstanding year. Him and Kaepernick have been hooking up, but it's really been getting back to the ground game. Frank Gore has really established himself, has had some games over 100 yards, a couple games with scoring 2 touchdowns. So with him heavily back involved in the mix, it really stabilizes that San Francisco offense and gets that mean offensive line blocking and doing the damage they do in the run game, and that will set up play action pass for Vernon Davis as well as Crabtree and Manningham when those players return, which they are expected to return very soon. On the defensive side of the ball, the 49ers continue to be one of the steadiest teams. Alden Smith, the all-pro outside linebacker, had some off-the-field issues and had to miss some games, but he's expected to return back this week. Also, Pro Bowl linebacker Patrick Willis suffered a hand injury and wasn't able to, he missed a couple games, but Navarro Bowman, Ahmad Brooks, I really feel the 49ers have the best linebacking core across the table in the league, with outside linebackers, Ahmad Brooks and Aldon Smith, as well as inside linebackers, Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis. So they were more than able to hold the fort down, especially Bowman, who you've seen step up and really make some big plays and be a leader on defense. The secondary remains solid. They do give up big plays at times, but I really like the play of rookie Eric Reed out of LSU. He's really coming in and doing an excellent job in that secondary next to Dante Whitner. Overall, the 49ers have big games left against Carolina, at New Orleans, and they have a big home game versus Seattle. I really do believe that that game will determine who wins that division. So you figure the 49ers will probably come in somewhere around 12-4 and 11-5. They'll definitely be in the playoffs, and the way that they're kind of flying under the radar right now, if healthy, I think this will be the most dangerous team in the playoffs in the NFC. We now get over to the Arizona Cardinals at 4-4. It's been inconsistent play for Carson Palmer at the quarterback position, but again, I knew without them really solidifying their offensive line, it didn't matter if Carson Palmer was going to be there because pass protection was going to continue to be a problem. They took a big hit when they lost their rookie offensive tackle they drafted from North Carolina this year in the preseason for the whole year. So that was a big hit right out the gate, not having a big-time player like that come in and add some extra edge and protection. The running game has also struggled. Larry Fitzgerald, we all know, is an all-pro, but it's difficult at times for Carson Palmer to be able to get him the ball. Second-year guy Malcolm Floyd, as well as Andre Hawkins, has not been able to step in and quite fill the void yet. So their offense has been shaky. Andre Ellington's a rookie who is coming in and doing a great job from Clemson. Had a big game last week, but Rashard Mendenhall is another player they picked up. So, you know, it's kind of, we'll have to see how Arizona's going to put the pieces to the puzzle together, but they are 4-4 right now, and, you know, looking to try to make some type of push in the second half. On the defensive side of the ball, this team is very solid. They're fourth against the run. You have good players like Darnell Dockett, Carlos Dansby, Darrell Washington, Dan Williams. All of those players create a lot of havoc on that front four. And then you do have Patrick Peterson, who's a Pro Bowler at cornerback, along with veteran Kerry Rose back in that secondary. So this defense is very tough, especially at home in Arizona. They give teams a ton of problems. And, you know, they have tough schedule left. They play Indianapolis, Seattle, San Francisco, at Tennessee. So I see this team probably coming in at 7-9 or possibly even out at 8-8. But in the NFC, that record just won't cut it as far as a wild card spot is concerned. Excuse me. And last but not least, the Rams are at 3-5. The Rams unfortunately lost starting franchise quarterback Sam Bradford to an injury in the game versus Carolina. That brought in Kellen Clemens, who has done a sufficient job running the offense, but they have big-time problems at the wide receiver position. A bunch of young guys, you know, Austin Pettis, Chris Gibbons, receivers who are unestablished. They also have Tavon Austin, the speedy, exciting rookie from St. Louis, seems to be finding his trouble finding his way through the system. He's not making a lot of plays from the slot position, really getting open at all. They haven't found ways to get him the ball. The one bright spot on this offense, however, is rookie Zach Stacy. It does seem like they found their running back for the future. They really struggled running the ball to start off the season, but Stacy is really finding his groove as he's picked up his production week by week over the last 3 weeks. I like this young guy's toughness. He's quick in the hole. He makes decisive moves. I really think he's a bright spot moving forward in the running game for the Rams. On the defensive side of the ball, the Rams have solid players. Defensive ends, Robert Quinn and Chris Long provide constant pressure. They also have rookie Kevin Ogletree from Georgia, who's done an excellent job. He's a sideline-to-sideline player, heavy impact guy, always has his nose around the ball. And cornerbacks Janoris Jenkins and Cortland Finnegan are tough on the corners. They play good man coverage. They really stick by their man. They're, you know, tough guys who tackle and play really physical. So the Rams defense, you know, is formidable. Jeff Fisher has a young squad here, is still building. And with games